Pain has a way of shrinking the world, of turning everything into sterile white walls, beeping monitors, and the constant ache of what used to be. People talk about recovery like it's a ladder you climb, one step at a time, until you're whole again. But they don't tell you what it's like when you stop moving, when you stop trying, when you stop hoping. The accident happened 6 months ago. A truck, a red light, a moment I don't remember but will never escape. They said I was lucky. They always say that when you're alive but not whole. I walked away with a fractured spine, 2 broken ribs, a shattered wrist, and a dozen scars I couldn't see but felt every time I looked in the mirror. I lost more than movement. I lost rhythm, purpose, friends who didn't know how to sit in silence, family who loved me better when I was strong. They visited at first, all of them, balloons, flowers, well-meaning jokes that didn't land. But as the weeks passed and I didn't smile, didn't get better fast enough, didn't become the inspiration they wanted, I watched them leave, one by one, until only she remained.
Ivy.
She wasn't my best friend. Not before. Not exactly. She was my neighbor, my sometime gym partner, the girl who brought over wine when I got dumped and sat with me in sweatpants while we cursed men and online dating and the overpriced sushi place down the block. She was steady, sarcastic, always wore black, and knew how to say just enough without making it about her. And for some reason I still don't understand, she stayed. Every week, every damn Tuesday, she showed up, sometimes with groceries, sometimes with books, sometimes with that quiet smile that never asked how I was, but somehow made it okay to be broken. The first time she helped me shower, I cried. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you. Not because of the pain, because of the shame. Because she saw me, naked, trembling, barely able to lift my own arms, and didn't flinch. She just held the water at the right temperature, washed my hair with careful fingers, and said, "You don't owe anyone strength. Not right now." And she stayed. She stayed when I was bitter, when I yelled, when I begged her to stop wasting her time, when I didn't speak for 2 days straight and left her texts unread. She brought soup, watched shitty crime shows with me, painted my nails because I said I missed the color red. She told me jokes I didn't laugh at, made me tea I didn't drink, and never once asked for anything in return. Today is Tuesday. The air is cold, the apartment too quiet, my body a little stiffer than usual. I'm not expecting her. I told her not to come this week. Told her I needed space. I lied. I wanted to see if she'd stay anyway. The knock comes at 10:04 a.m. Always the same time. My heart skips. I don't move. The door opens. "You changed the lock?" she asks, playful. I don't answer. She walks in anyway. Ivy always walks in. She knows the layout better than I do now. She sets the bag down on the counter, peeks into the fridge, makes a face. "You've eaten 3 apples and a pack of string cheese since Saturday." I wasn't hungry. You're never hungry. But I brought Thai. Extra tofu. I closed my eyes. I told you not to come. And I heard you. I just didn't agree. You're wasting your time.
Cool.
Then I guess I'll waste it here. She walks to the couch, plops down, grabs the remote, and clicks on one of our regular shows. I stare at her. Messy bun, black hoodie, combat boots, the faintest smudge of eyeliner under one eye. She looks tired, like the world's been heavy lately. But her eyes light up when she turns toward me, like I'm the thing she's been waiting to see. "You could walk away," I say, quieter than before. "Everyone else did." "I'm not everyone else." "Why?" "Because I see you," she says, so simply it slices right through me. "Not who you were before. Not who you think you should be.
Just you. Right now."
I try to hold it together. I try not to cry. But something cracks. A quiet sob, fast and sharp. I hate that she hears it. She's beside me a second later, not asking, just wrapping her arms around me, carefully, gently, like she's done this before. My face presses to her shoulder. She smells like soap and rain. Her hands don't wander. They just hold.
Steady.
Sure. I'm scared, I whisper. I know. I don't know who I am anymore. Then we'll figure it out. Together. You should have left me when I asked. I almost did. That first week. But then you looked at me like I was the only thing keeping you upright. And I couldn't walk away from that. From you. I pull back just enough to look at her. Her face is closer than I thought. Her eyes locked on mine. There's a pause. The kind that holds breath and promise and something neither of us is brave enough to name yet. Her hand lifts, brushes a strand of hair from my cheek. Ivy, I say, her name a tremble in my throat. I'm not ready. I know, she says. I'm not here to rush you. Just to remind you I'm still here. And for the first time since the accident, I believe it. Really believe it. She won't leave. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not if I keep breaking. I rest my forehead against hers. Breathe her in. Stay, I whisper. Always, she says. And I feel it in my bones. I'm not alone anymore. I didn't mean to fall asleep. I must have drifted off sometime between the second episode and the sound of Ivy reheating the pad thai in my kitchen. I remember the scent hitting me first, ginger and basil, and something spicy. She always asked for extra of just for me. My body still hurt when I moved. Not sharp pain, not like before, but a dull ache that never left. I hated the way it made me feel slow, fragile, like I was only half inside myself. But when I opened my eyes and saw her there, barefoot, hoodie sleeves pushed up, stirring noodles in my pan like this was her home too, I didn't feel broken. I felt still. She noticed me watching and smiled. You slept through the ending. Again. You already knew I would. Yeah, she said, tossing me a wink. That's why I brought food. Distraction for when you pretend you totally followed the plot. I didn't pretend. You mumbled something about alibis and a pizza guy. Neither were relevant. Details. She brought the plate over, set it in front of me, handed me a fork without a word. I didn't say thank you. I didn't have to. We ate in silence. She sat close, thigh brushing mine just barely, like she wanted to remind me she was real. She chewed slow, always focused, like every bite mattered. I always forgot how much I loved watching her do ordinary things. You want to go outside? She asked suddenly. Like the world. I was thinking just the courtyard. It's warm today. We can sit under the tree. I hesitated. It had been weeks since I'd gone out. The idea of being seen, hobbling, slower than before, face thinner and posture changed, made my chest tighten. She must have seen it, because she touched my hand, thumb brushing the curve of my palm. Just us. No one else. I'll carry the blanket and everything. I wanted to say no. I was ready to say no. But something in her eyes made me want to try. We got dressed slowly. She helped me into the soft joggers she'd bought me last month. They were faded now, comfortable. Her hands didn't linger, but they were always there when I needed them, at my elbow, at my hip, steady. She knotted her hair into a low braid. I pulled on her hoodie. She smiled when she saw me in it, said, "Looks better on you." I didn't believe her, but I didn't argue. Outside, the air felt like a different planet. It was the first warmth of spring. Earthy, alive, full of promise. We sat under the tree near the bench by the corner, just us, birds in the branches, someone's wind chime a few floors up catching the breeze. I sat stiff at first, aware of every scar, every curve of my body that no longer felt like mine. Ivy stretched out beside me, hands behind her head, eyes closed. "You ever think about what you'll do when you're stronger?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. I watched the wind catch the ends of her braid. "I used to," I said. "Now it just makes me tired." "That's fair. You don't have to ask me about the future." "I'm not," she said, opening her eyes. "I'm just curious what still lives in there." She tapped the side of my head gently. "You used to be full of ideas." They got quiet. Then we'll whisper until they come back. I looked at her then. Her face open, soft, no agenda. Just presence. Why are you like this? I asked. Like what? Kind, patient, relentless. Because I care about you. You don't even know who I am anymore. I think I do, she said. And if I'm wrong, I'm willing to stay long enough to learn. I swallowed hard. Her hand was still close to mine. I didn't take it, but I didn't pull away either. That night, she stayed. She always asked now. Never assumed. I nodded before she could finish the question. We brushed our teeth side by side. I caught my reflection, flinched. The angles of my body, the stiffness in my gait, the hollowness in my cheeks. I turned away fast. She noticed, didn't push, just handed me her face cream and said, "You forgot this last time. We lay in bed, not touching."
Not yet.
She turned on her side to face me. I stared at the ceiling. I hate mirrors, I said. I know. I hate what I see. Then look at me instead. I turned my head. She was so close. Her breath warm. Her eyes dark and steady. "You're still beautiful," she said. "You don't have to say that." "I'm not saying it for you," she whispered. "I'm saying it because it's true. I'm not ready for more." "I'm not asking for more," she said. "But I think about it. Sometimes. What it would be like. To kiss you." My heart stopped. "Do you want to?" "Desperately," she said. "But not until you ask me to." I didn't say anything. My body was still. My hands shook. She reached out, brushed her thumb over my knuckles. "When you're ready," she said, and pulled the blanket over us. I lay awake long after she fell asleep, staring at her mouth, remembering what she said. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel numb. I felt longing. I didn't sleep. Not really. My body lay still, but my mind wouldn't stop spinning, looping Ivy's words like they were carved into the air around us. I think about it, what it would be like. To kiss you. She'd said it so quietly, like it wasn't meant to shift the ground beneath me.
But it did.
I'd spent so long learning how not to feel that the first flicker of one inside me felt dangerous. Like a live wire I didn't know how to touch. I watched her sleep for a while. The way her lashes fluttered when she dreamed. The way her lips parted, just slightly, like she was whispering to a world only she could see. Her face looked younger in the dark.
Softer.
I wondered how many times I'd missed this version of her, when I was too busy being strong, too busy falling apart, too busy pretending I didn't need anyone. And now she was here. Still here. I reached out before I could stop myself. Just a light touch to her wrist, 2 fingers resting against her pulse. I needed proof she was real, that I hadn't dreamed her too. Her heartbeat was steady, warm beneath my touch. She stirred slightly, eyes flickering open, sleep-drenched and unfocused. "Sorry," I whispered. "Didn't mean to wake you. You okay?" Her voice was gravel and silk. "I think so." She blinked a few times. Then, gently, "You touched me. I wanted to feel you breathing." "I am," she said softly, "because you're here." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "What would you do if I kissed you?" Her breath caught. She didn't move. "I'd let you." "Even like this? With me still not all the way whole?" "Especially like this," she said. "Because you're still choosing to feel. That's braver than anything else." I shifted closer, my body stiff and cautious, nerves lighting up in ways I hadn't felt in months. She didn't move to help. She just waited.
Let me take my time.
I was inches away now, her breath mingling with mine. "I don't know if I can do this," I said. "Then don't," she replied. "Not until you want to." "I want to." Her voice dropped, just a whisper against my mouth. "Then kiss me." I did. Slow. Tentative. Like every nerve in my body was holding its breath. Her lips were soft, warm, familiar in a way that didn't make sense, but felt right. She kissed me back like I was something sacred, something fragile and burning. There was no rush, no push, Just mouths learning each other again after months of silence. When I pulled back, I was shaking. She cupped my cheek. That was perfect. I'm scared, I admitted. So am I, she whispered. But I'm not going anywhere. I laid my head on her chest, her heartbeat loud in my ear. We didn't say anything else. We didn't have to. In the morning, I woke up to the smell of toast and coffee. Ivy was humming in the kitchen, barefoot, dancing in slow circles like she belonged in every inch of my home. I watched her for a moment, my body sore but alive, heart beating with something I hadn't felt in so long. Hunger, not just for food, for life. For her. She turned and saw me, her smile blooming like sunlight. Morning. You stayed. You asked me to. You made breakfast. I kissed you, she added. I thought breakfast was the least I could do. I smiled. Really smiled. She brought me a cup of coffee, sat beside me on the couch, and we sipped in silence. But her thigh brushed mine, and neither of us moved. What now? I asked. Now we keep going, she said. Until you're not scared of your reflection anymore. Until you're not scared of wanting things again. And what if I fall apart? Then I'll help you put yourself back together. She reached for my hand, laced our fingers, kissed my knuckles, one piece at a time. And I knew in that moment that I was never going to be the same, because she was still here. And for the first time, I wanted to stay too. I hadn't expected the kiss to change anything, not really. But somehow it did. Not in big, dramatic ways. There were no fireworks, no overwhelming epiphany, no sudden cure for all the pieces inside me that still felt broken, but in the quiet moments I noticed it. The shift. The way Ivy looked at me when I spoke, like my words mattered. The way her hand rested gently on my back as we walked, not to support me, not to guide me, just to remind me she was there. The way I started watching her mouth when she spoke. The way my body, still hesitant and healing, began to lean into her on instinct. We didn't talk about it. Not right away. But the silence wasn't heavy. It was charged. Waiting. 2 nights later, we were back on the couch, a movie playing in the background, but neither of us really paying attention. I was curled against her side, her arm draped over my shoulders, fingers tracing absent-minded circles on the skin beneath my sleeve. I didn't flinch. I didn't tense. I let her touch me, and my body responded in a way I hadn't felt in months. A slow heat, low and steady, blooming just beneath my ribs. I closed my eyes and let myself feel it. The comfort. The want. Her thumb brushed the edge of my collarbone. My breath hitched. She stilled. Waited. Then, slowly, deliberately, she kissed my temple. Okay, she asked. I nodded. I felt her smile against my skin. Good. We stayed like that for a while. Her fingers never wandered, never asked for more. But they didn't stop either. And my body, my traitorous, healing, aching body, began to crave more. That night, in bed, we lay closer than usual. My back pressed to her chest, her hand resting on my stomach. I could feel her breath on the back of my neck, warm and steady. I couldn't sleep. Not with her this close. Not with every inch of me humming. Ivy, I whispered. Yeah. What if I'm not ready, but I still want to feel something? Her hand tensed slightly, then softened. Then we start there. I'm scared it'll hurt. Not just my body. Me. I won't let it, she said. I'll stop the second it becomes too much. You lead. I follow. I turned in her arms, faced her in the dark. I trust you. She reached up and brushed her fingers along my jaw, her touch featherlight. Can I kiss you again? I nodded. Her lips met mine, slow and warm and deep. This wasn't like the first kiss. This one had intent. Her hands slid down my sides, learning me with the reverence of someone who didn't want to take, just witness. She kissed me until my legs tangled with hers, until I was gasping softly into her mouth, until my fingers fisted the fabric of her shirt and I felt like maybe I could fall apart and still be whole. Her thigh slipped between mine and I froze. She pulled back immediately. Too much. No, I said, voice shaky. Not too much. Just new. Then let's go slow. Her hands moved back to safer ground. My hips. My ribs. Her mouth never stopped moving. Jaw, throat, shoulder. She kissed every inch of skin I offered like it was holy. I arched into her without thinking. My body took over. And for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I wanted to be touched. Not just comforted. Wanted. Desired. I rolled on top of her, breath short, legs straddling her waist. She looked up at me, eyes dark and full of something I couldn't name. You sure? She asked. No, I admitted. But I want to see what it feels like to try. Her hands didn't move. She waited. Let me explore. My hands slid under her shirt. Her stomach was warm, soft. She inhaled sharply when I touched her ribs. I kissed her again, harder this time. Her hands finally came alive, roaming my back, cupping my waist, steadying me. The friction built slowly, painfully, beautifully. We never undressed fully. We didn't need to. Just lips and hands and hips, the slow drag of two people discovering each other in real time. I came undone against her thigh, muffling my gasp into her neck, shaking and breathless, and more alive than I'd felt in months. She held me through it, whispering things I couldn't fully hear but felt like safety. I collapsed against her chest, heart racing, tears burning my eyes. She kissed the top of my head. You're okay, she whispered. You're okay. I didn't think I'd ever feel that again. You'll feel everything again. One step at a time. Ivy, yeah? I think I'm falling in love with you. She kissed my hair again. Then fall. I'll catch you. And I did. The morning after I let her touch me, really touch me, I woke up before her, and everything inside me was loud. Not in a joyful way. In the way silence feels right before a storm. She was still asleep, one arm draped across my waist, her lips parted slightly, chest rising and falling in slow, steady rhythm. And I lay there, frozen, staring at the ceiling like it had answers. My body was still humming from the night before, but my mind was already trying to claw its way out of peace. I hadn't been this exposed since the accident. I hadn't been this seen. And the voice in my head, the one that never really shuts up, kept whispering, "You let her see too much." I slid out of bed as gently as I could. My legs ached. My back stiffened. The soreness was familiar, but today it felt sharper, like it was echoing something deeper. I wrapped myself in the robe Ivy had brought me weeks ago. Black.
Soft.
Her favorite. The irony wasn't lost on me. I made coffee in the dark, keeping the lights off, listening to the machine hiss like it might drown out my thoughts. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at the mug in my hands, when I heard her voice. Hey. I turned. She stood in the hallway, hair messy, one sleeve of my shirt slipping off her shoulder. She looked rumpled and beautiful and concerned. You okay? Yeah. I lied. Just couldn't sleep. She walked to me, slowly, like approaching an animal she wasn't sure would bolt. You left the bed. Didn't want to wake you.
She studied me.
You're panicking. I'm not, Kennedy. Her voice was quiet but firm. She reached out and placed her hands on my hips, grounding me. Talk to me. I don't know what you want from me, I whispered. Last night was perfect, but now I feel like I gave too much. Like maybe now you'll see how much damage there is and finally realize it's not worth it. Her face softened. You think I didn't already know you're carrying damage? It's different when it's physical. When you see it, feel it. When you realize I'm not easy to touch, not easy to move with, not even easy to hold. You think I want easy? She asked, stepping closer. You think I stayed because I was waiting for you to perform? No, I said, but maybe you stayed because I was broken enough to make you feel needed. That hurt her. I saw it in her eyes, but she didn't back away.
Don't do that, she said.
Don't shrink the way I love you down to some savior complex. I stayed because I care.
Because I wanted to.
Because I fell for you. And last night didn't scare me, Kennedy. It made me more certain. Of what? Of this, she said. Of us. I looked down, unable to hold her gaze. What if I never go back to who I was? Then I'll love whoever you become. And if that person is bitter?
Closed off.
Afraid all the time? Then I'll learn how to hold her gently. My throat tightened. I don't know how to let this be real. You don't have to know. You just have to let it happen. She leaned in, pressing her forehead to mine. You're not too much. You're not a burden. You're not a broken thing I'm trying to fix. Then what am I? I asked, voice cracking. You're mine, she whispered. If you'll have me. I kissed her then, because the words weren't enough. Because my body, my mind, my fear, everything was trembling. But her mouth met mine like a promise. And I believed her. We stayed like that, holding each other in the dark kitchen, the coffee growing cold, her hands warm against my back. She didn't ask me to explain further. She didn't push. She just kissed me again and again, like she was reminding me with every press of her lips that she wasn't going anywhere. Later, we sat on the couch, her feet in my lap, my fingers tracing the curve of her ankle. I watched the light move across her skin and thought, this is what safety feels like.
I want to try something, I said.
Okay, she replied. Anything. I want to show you what it's like when I'm the one who starts. Her eyes darkened. You don't have to. I want to. She nodded. Slowly. Gave me time. I took her hand, led her to the bedroom. My legs were stiff, my back still sore, but I moved with intention. I undressed her with shaking hands, not from fear, but from reverence. Her shirt slipped off her shoulders. Her bra unclasped easily. She stood before me, beautiful and waiting. I kissed her collarbone, her ribs, the inside of her wrist. She trembled when I touched her stomach, when my lips brushed her hip. I guided her onto the bed, climbed over her slowly, bracing myself on one arm, moving with care.
She didn't rush me.
Not once. Her breath was shallow, but her eyes never left mine. Tell me what you want, I whispered. I want all of you, she said, but only if you're ready. I kissed her again. Let my hands explore. My mouth moved lower. Her gasp when I kissed between her thighs was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. She came undone beneath me, fingers in my hair, body arching gently, not wild but full of surrender. When she came down, I lay beside her, kissed her shoulder, and buried my face in her neck. She wrapped her arms around me, pulled me close. That was perfect, she whispered. You're perfect. I'm still scared, I said. Then be scared, she replied. But don't run. I'm not running, I promised. Not anymore. And I meant it, because Ivy had stayed when no one else did. And now I was staying too. The days after that night passed in a quiet rhythm I didn't want to disturb. Everything in my world was softer, steadier, and full of new weight. The kind of weight that grounded me, not held me down. Ivy stayed every night.
We didn't talk about it.
She brought her things slowly. First a charger, then a sweater she didn't take back, then a box of tea only she drank that lived permanently in my cupboard. One afternoon, I found a pair of her socks tucked into the laundry I hadn't touched in weeks, and something in me settled. Like my body was finally starting to believe she wasn't leaving. I woke up to her laughter in the kitchen, her bare feet echoing softly across the floor. She sang along to terrible pop songs while she cooked, made coffee exactly how I liked it, and still kissed my forehead every morning like she was reminding me, silently, you're not alone anymore. My body was healing slowly. The aches were still there, but they weren't dictating everything. I was able to stand longer, walk with more confidence. My reflection still startled me sometimes, but I didn't flinch as much. Ivy called it progress. I called at her. Then, one morning, she looked up from her phone and said, "There's a gallery opening Friday night. I have a friend showing something. Want to come with me?" My stomach twisted. The idea of going out, of being seen, really seen, by people who hadn't watched the whole story unfold, made something sharp rise in my chest. "I don't know," I said, voice small. "Too much. It's just a few people.
Wine.
Music. Art. And stairs." Maybe, she said honestly, but also maybe freedom. Just us. Outside these walls. I didn't answer right away. But that night, I thought about it long after she fell asleep, her hand resting over my heart like she was holding me together in her sleep. When Friday came, I stood in front of the mirror longer than I'd allowed myself in months. I wore black, Ivy's favorite, simple pants, a blouse that didn't cling too tightly. She came in halfway through me fixing my hair and stopped in the doorway. Holy shit. Too much. I asked, panicked. Too beautiful, she said. You're breathtaking. Don't lie. I'm not, she said, walking to me. I wish you could see yourself the way I do. Maybe I'm starting to. She kissed my shoulder gently. Let's go. The gallery was small, intimate, full of warm lighting and clinking glasses. I gripped Ivy's hand tightly at first, every eye that passed making my skin prickle. But she never let go. Not once. She guided me through the space, introducing me simply as my person. Her voice calm, proud, casual. Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I caught a few stares, a few glances. But no one said anything cruel. No one asked about the accident. One woman complimented my earrings. A man offered me champagne. Ivy's friend, a sculptor named Danny, hugged her and winked at me. So this is the one who finally made her smile again. Damn, I was starting to think that was a myth. I smile all the time, Ivy said. You glare beautifully, Danny shot back, then added to me. She's softer with you. It's good.
I didn't know what to say.
So I smiled.
It wasn't forced.
We stayed for an hour. Maybe 2. I don't remember most of the art, but I remember the way Ivy stood close. The way her hand never drifted far from mine. The way I started to breathe easier. On the way home, I leaned my head on her shoulder in the car. Thank you. For what? For pushing me. Gently. You did all the work. I wouldn't have without you. Then we're a good team. I kissed her jaw. The best. But that night, something shifted. Not in her. In me. I watched her sleep and thought about the people I hadn't seen in months. Friends who had vanished. Some I'd pushed away. Others who hadn't known how to stay. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. Just different. The version of me they remembered didn't exist. And maybe I needed to let them see the new one. I want to visit my sister, I told Ivy the next morning. She paused mid-sip. Yeah. I haven't seen her since the accident. She didn't come. I think it was too hard for her. You want me to come with you? I don't know, I said. But I want to try. For me. Ivy smiled. Tell me what you need. I'll do it. Just be here when I come back. Always. That afternoon, I called my sister. She cried when she answered. Said she was sorry. Said she'd thought I didn't want her there. I told her I'd pushed everyone away. I told her I was sorry too. We agreed to meet for lunch next week. It felt like hope. That night, Ivy made pasta and danced with me in the kitchen, twirling me slowly like I wasn't made of porcelain. We laughed until we were breathless. We kissed until the pasta got cold. And later, in bed, I looked at her and said, I'm falling in love with you more every day. She smiled, kissed my lips softly, and whispered, then fall. I'm already there. The morning I went to see my sister, everything inside me felt loud. Not panicked, not broken, just raw. I hadn't seen her in over 7 months. Not since the day before the accident, when she'd hugged me at her front door and said, call me when you get home. I never did.
She tried.
In the hospital, in rehab, in the long silence afterward, her name would appear on my phone like a wound I couldn't bring myself to press on. But I didn't answer. Not because I didn't love her, but because I didn't know how to let her see the version of me I hadn't made peace with yet. I told Ivy I wanted to go alone. She didn't question it. She just kissed my forehead, helped me choose a sweater that made me feel solid, and said, I'll be right here when you get back. I held on to those words like a rope. The cafe was small, tucked between 2 bookstores, with too many windows and not enough shadows. I saw my sister through the glass before I walked in.
She hadn't changed.
Still in her always perfect coat, hair clipped back, eyes scanning the door every few seconds like she was waiting for a version of me she wouldn't recognize. I walked in slowly. The bell over the door chimed. Her head snapped up, and for a second, she didn't move. Then she stood, too fast, and knocked her water over in the process. I smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was so her.
"Hi," I said.
"Hi," she breathed. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. "You came." I said I would. "I didn't think you meant it." "I didn't either," I admitted. "But I'm tired of being afraid of the people I love." She reached for me, not dramatically, just a gentle hand on my forearm. "You look different. Brave." That caught me off guard. "You think I'm brave?" "I always did," she said, "even when you didn't pick up my calls." "I'm sorry. Don't be." I wasn't ready either. I was scared of what I'd say,
Of what you'd say.
of not knowing how to help. "You not being there hurt," I said honestly, "but I think I understand it now. I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to be enough for you." "No one was," I said, "except her." "Ivy." I nodded. She stayed. When I told her not to, when I yelled, when I fell apart, she never left. "Do you love her?" I think I loved her before I knew how to call it that.
But yes.
"I do." My sister smiled, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'm glad. You deserve that." We talked for hours. About everything and nothing. The accident.
Her job.
The way our parents never really knew how to say "I'm proud of you" without a condition attached. I told her about the first time I walked across the room without the cane. About the night I let Ivy touch me and how I cried because I remembered what it felt like to want. She cried too. We cried together. And by the time we hugged goodbye, something inside me had shifted. A weight lifted. A wound acknowledged. Not healed. Not yet, but open to air for the first time. I walked home slowly. My legs were tired, but they didn't shake. I opened the door, and Ivy was there. On the couch, wrapped in a blanket, a book in her lap, 2 mugs of tea on the table. She looked up the second she heard me. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey. How'd it go?" I sat beside her, leaned my head on her shoulder. "Hard. Good. Real. You're okay?" "I think I'm more than okay." She kissed the top of my head. "I'm proud of you." "I know." I looked at her. "That's new. Me knowing it." "Well, get used to it." She reached for one of the mugs, handed it to me.
Chamomile.
Of course. She always knew what I needed before I did. We stayed like that for a while. No TV. No distractions. Just warmth and breath, and the sound of the city outside our window. I took her hand, intertwined our fingers. "I told her about you." "Yeah." "Told her you saved me." Ivy smiled. "You saved yourself." "I just waited with snacks." "No," I said, turning to face her. "You saw me when I didn't want to be seen. You stayed when I told you to go. You were the first thing that felt safe after the accident. And you were the bravest thing I'd ever touched." Her voice was trembling now. "You let me love you without asking me to earn it. You earned it every day." I leaned in, kissed her slowly, deeply, like all the quiet between us had finally bloomed into something too big to contain. When I pulled back, I said, "Come to my sister's place with me next week. She wants to meet you properly." "You sure?" "I'm sure." Her eyes shimmered.
Then yeah.
"I'd love that." I rested my head in her lap. She ran her fingers through my hair. And for the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for something to go wrong. I was just here. Present.
Whole.
Still healing, but held. The invitation came from Danny, Ivy's friend from the gallery. A non-profit fundraiser. Art and community and a silent auction full of things too expensive for us to bid on, but the kind of place people went to be seen. Ivy read the text out loud, casually, one leg folded under her, her hair damp from the shower, and said, "We don't have to go. It's totally skippable." I looked at her, curled up in my sweater, barefaced and glowing in the evening light, and felt something inside me flicker. A thought. A want.
A choice.
I want to go, I said. She looked up, surprised but careful not to make it a moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm tired of hiding. Her smile was slow, like dawn. Then let's go. The night of the event, I stood in front of the mirror longer than I should have. I wore a black jumpsuit Ivy had picked out with me last week, something sleek and soft, that hugged just enough to feel like I hadn't disappeared. I still startled at my reflection sometimes, but not tonight. Tonight, I held my own gaze. Ivy came out of the bathroom in a wine-colored dress that stole every coherent thought from my head. She stopped in the doorway when she saw me. Okay, she whispered. You're officially trying to kill me. You said look hot. Yeah, but I didn't mean literally melt my spine hot. I rolled my eyes and turned, pretending to check my earrings, but I was smiling. She stepped behind me, hands sliding around my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. You're stunning, she said, her voice low. You're mine. Then let's go show them what healing looks like. We arrived arm in arm. The venue was elegant but not stuffy, brick walls, strings of lights, abstract sculptures in corners, and people holding flutes of champagne like they'd been born doing it. Eyes turned when we walked in. I felt it immediately, the double take, the pause, the whisper of curiosity. But for the first time in a long time, I didn't flinch. I held Ivy's hand tighter. We made our way through the room slowly. Danny greeted us with a grin and 2 drinks. Damn, she said to Ivy, you clean up like someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Ivy winked. I'm just here to make her look even better.
Danny turned to me.
You good?
More than good, I said.
And I meant it. The evening moved in waves. I laughed. I spoke to strangers. I talked about Ivy like she was the anchor of my new life, which she was. When someone asked what I did, I said, I used to be in design. And Ivy leaned in, whispering, you still are, like it was already decided. I was sipping my drink when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned. A familiar face. From my old life. Olivia. A friend, or something close to one, before the accident. We'd taken classes together, worked on projects, shared drinks and secrets and things that used to feel important. But she hadn't called. Not once. Hey, she said, tentative. Kennedy. Olivia. Wow, you look amazing. I nodded, guarded. You too. She hesitated. I wanted to reach out.
After.
I just didn't know what to say. So you said nothing? Yeah, she admitted. I messed up. I didn't know how to be there. Ivy moved closer, her hand brushing mine. Olivia clocked it immediately. You're with her? I am, I said. She's been here since day one. I'm glad, Olivia said after a beat. You look happy. I am.
She smiled, awkward.
It's good to see you. You too. And that was it. She walked away. And I didn't chase her. I turned to Ivy instead. That used to hurt. And now I just feel lucky she's not you. Ivy kissed my cheek, barely holding back her smile. You keep saying things that make me want to drag you into a closet. Later, I teased. There's dessert first. She groaned. We stayed late. We danced once. Slowly. Her arms around my waist, my head resting against her collarbone. Music vibrating in our bones. I felt safe. I felt seen. I felt desired. On the way home, we walked in silence, our heels echoing against the sidewalk. Ivy squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you. For what? For coming back to yourself. I'm still finding pieces. Then let's keep looking together. I stopped walking, pulled her close. You're my person. I better be. I want to do something, I said. Something bold. Oh God. Should I sit down? Move in with me. Her breath caught. Kennedy, I'm serious. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. She stared at me, eyes wide and full of something that made my knees weak. Then yes, she said. 1,000 times yes. I kissed her under the streetlight like the world wasn't watching, like it never mattered what they thought. We went home. We made love. Not rushed. Not for comfort. But because we wanted to celebrate something bigger than survival. We wanted to mark this moment as the one where everything turned forward. Where hope wasn't a whisper, it was loud. Real.
Ours.
And as I fell asleep, tangled with her, heart full and body warm, I knew this wasn't just recovery. This was rebirth. Moving in together didn't happen in a single day. It was a slow blending, one drawer at a time, one toothbrush beside another, one shelf shared and then forgotten as separate. Ivy started bringing more clothes, more books, more of herself into my space until my apartment stopped feeling like a recovery cave and started feeling like a home. Our home. The first night she officially stayed as someone who lived there, not just visited, was quieter than I expected. No big celebration. No champagne. Just pizza on the couch, bare feet tangled, a stack of boxes in the corner neither of us felt like unpacking yet. We watched something forgettable, laughed a little. I rested my head on her chest and thought, this is what safety is.
And yet it terrified me.
Not her. Not the love. The permanence. The stillness. The quiet promise of I am here even when things get hard. Because things still got hard. Some mornings I woke up with a body that refused to move the way I wanted. Some days I caught myself staring at the mirror too long, searching for the person I used to be, and wondering if she was gone forever. Some nights I dreamt about the accident and woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, the scent of blood and metal lingering in my mind even when it wasn't real. Ivy never made me explain. She never tried to fix it. She'd just hold me, rub slow circles on my back, whisper things like, you're safe and I've got you and you don't have to do this alone. And I'd cry. Not because I was breaking, but because I was finally being held through it. She filled the apartment with warmth in ways I hadn't realized were missing. Music while she cooked. Notes on the fridge. A new set of towels because the old ones were aggressively scratchy. She made the bed every morning with the corners tucked tight, military style, but left a corner loose on my side because she knew I liked to curl into the blanket. She left socks everywhere and used 5 mugs a day and forgot to cap the toothpaste. I started to love all of it. One night, after a long day that ended with a small victory, walking to the park and back without needing to stop, we were lying in bed, legs tangled, our breaths sinking in the dark. I'm scared it won't last, I whispered. What won't? She asked.
This. Us.
Me being okay. She shifted closer, hand cupping my face. It doesn't have to be perfect to be permanent. But what if I mess it up? Then we clean it up together. I let out a shaky breath. You always say the right thing.
That's because I mean it, she said.
I'm not here for the version of you that smiles on command or gets everything right. I'm here for the version that keeps trying, even when it's messy. I kissed her then, deep and slow and aching. I kissed her like I wanted to memorize every inch of her, like I needed her embedded in me. Not just skin to skin, but soul to soul. We made love like we had nothing to prove. Like we were building something that didn't need approval or applause. Just hands and mouths and heat and the quiet thrum of 2 people choosing each other again and again. The next morning I woke up first. I watched her sleep, one arm curled under her head, hair spilling across the pillow. I thought about the girl I was before the accident, before the pain, before Ivy. And I realized something that made my heart ache and swell all at once. I didn't want to go back to her. I didn't need to, because who I was now, who I was becoming, felt stronger.
Softer.
More whole. Not in spite of everything I'd been through, but because of it. Ivy stirred beside me, eyes blinking open, a lazy smile tugging at her lips. Staring again? Always, I whispered. Creep. Love of your life, I corrected. She rolled onto her side, pressed her lips to mine, slow and sure. That too. We lay there, quiet, warm, and tangled, when I said, I've been thinking about something. Dangerous. I want to start designing again. Freelance. Nothing huge. Just creating again. She pulled back, eyes shining. Kennedy, that's amazing. I'm scared. Of course you are, but you don't have to do it alone. Will you help me?
Every step, she said.
And I'm buying you a ridiculous desk chair with lumbar support. I laughed. Actually laughed. Full and loud and alive. God, I love you. She kissed my cheek.
Good.
Because I'm about to get very annoying while helping you build a website.
You mean your website? I teased.
Our website, she corrected. Everything we build from now on, we build together. The first client came through Ivy's friend Danny, a woman named Claire, opening a boutique wellness space downtown, looking for logo design and brand visuals. Nothing huge, just a small contract. Just enough to make my heart pound when I saw the email. I stared at it for almost 20 minutes before I let myself open it. Ivy found me on the couch, laptop glowing in my lap, tea gone cold on the side table.
You're pale, she said.
You okay? I turned the screen toward her, pulse racing. She read it, then again, then grinned so wide I forgot how to breathe. Oh my God, this is it. This is the first one. What if I say yes and I freeze?
Then you freeze, she said.
And then you unfreeze. Because this is who you are. A designer, a storyteller, a survivor who makes things beautiful. I swallowed hard. I haven't touched a real project since the accident. Then it's time. I clicked reply. My hands shook, but I didn't stop.
I said yes.
We set up a call. I scheduled it for Thursday morning. The next few days were a mix of excitement and quiet dread. Ivy helped me rearrange the guest room into a workspace, complete with the ridiculous chair she promised, a corkboard I'd once used in college, and plants she claimed brought creative energy. She made playlists for focus mode and brought me snacks every time I sat down at the desk. You need to eat like a creative again, she'd say, kissing the top of my head, dropping a bowl of fruit or crackers beside me before disappearing into the kitchen humming something soft. On Thursday, I sat at the desk 10 minutes before the call. Ivy stood behind me, her hands on my shoulders, her warmth steady through the fabric of my shirt. I'm going to stay in the living room, she whispered. You've got this, but I'm right here, okay? Okay. I took a deep breath and watched her walk away. The screen lit up. The call began. And something inside me steadied. Claire was kind, enthusiastic. She'd seen some of my older work through Danny and loved my style. She talked about healing spaces, gentle textures, fonts that felt like breath. And as she spoke, something clicked back into place.
My instincts. My eye.
My voice. I started suggesting things before I could overthink them. Palette tones. Minimal line illustrations. Movement through color. By the time we hung up, I had notes, direction, and a start date. I closed the laptop and just sat there.
Still.
Quiet. And then I started to cry. Not from fear. From the release. From the feeling that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't gone. I walked into the living room where Ivy sat cross-legged with her journal, her face lighting up the second she saw me. Well, I didn't say anything. I crossed the room, straddled her lap, cupped her face in both hands, and kissed her like the answer was in her mouth. She kissed me back, deep and slow, her hands running down my back like she could feel all the walls falling away. When we pulled apart, I whispered, I'm back. She smiled, touched her forehead to mine. You never left. You just needed time. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for choosing to come back. That night, we cooked dinner together, dancing between the stove and the sink, laughing over burnt garlic and wine that was way too dry. We talked about furniture, vacation ideas, the dream of building a website that turned into something bigger, a brand, maybe, or a studio. We could do it together, Ivy said, swirling her wine.
You design.
I organize your chaos. It'll be like a power couple meets creative mess. You want to build a business with me? I want to build a life with you. I didn't answer with words. I just pulled her into my arms and held her like the world outside our windows didn't matter. Later, curled in bed, our limbs tangled, I said, I used to think the accident ended everything. And now I think it started something better. You started something better, she corrected. I just held the door open. You did more than that. I traced a line across her ribs. You walked through hell with me. You stayed. I fell in love with you in the quiet, she said. And I'll keep loving you in the noise. It might get noisy. Let it. She kissed me slow, then added, we deserve it. All of it. We didn't say I love you again. We didn't need to. We just lay there, listening to each other breathe, bodies pressed together like the final note in a song that had taken a long time to find its melody. In the morning, I opened a blank canvas on my screen. Ivy brought me coffee. The sun poured through the window. And I began to create again, not for survival, but for joy. For us. For the life we'd built from the wreckage. And this time, I didn't look back. Thank you so much for your support, whether it's by liking, commenting, sharing, or sending your super thanks. You make all the difference here on the channel. See you in the next video.